Hey guys, back again. Wow, two videos in one day, ain't that crazy? Yeah, this is gonna be kind of a new series. I'm gonna start Road to Cybersecurity. And me, myself, I am not, in corporate cybersecurity. But, personal studies and all that, I like to think that I'm in personal cybersecurity, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I should probably stop cussing in my videos. I don't know if people like that. But first thing I want to cover before I get into it, this is going to be a pretty long one, is the A plus certification. So honestly, if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, I think A plus, the concepts are good to know, but I don't think you need it, to be honest. You can pretty much learn all this shit yourself. You don't need to, you know, spend $265, and plus you have to take two of them bitches. So it's like, yeah, ain't nobody got no money for that. I mean, some people got money for that, but it's like, why spend money on that when you can learn all this shit yourself? So as far as I know, the best route to take is first getting a help desk position, which I'm currently in. I have a help desk position. And as far as the questions that they asked me in the interview was very, very basic. It was, I did a written test and then a like verbal, I guess you could call it, or practical, where they handed me the computer and told me to do certain shit. But on the written exam, from what I remember, they asked about subnet masks, basic stuff, differentiating between hardware components, CPU, graphics card, and I think some basic troubleshooting issues, but very, very basic. So if you study A plus and you know it, or if you just like, personal practice, like I don't have A plus and I got the position, you really don't need it. I mean, I know some companies, they're like strict and they want you to have that A plus or whatever, which is some bullshit. But some companies really don't care as long as like, they know that you know. And so I never really studied for A plus. And I learned all this shit myself, and I was able to, pass and, get the position and stuff like that. And I just hope this, somehow helps somebody, just because it was a little bit difficult to find like a career map into cybersecurity. And so, but this is the foundations. You have to learn networking, hardware, all of this shit, in order to get into it, because it's completely different field than just basic IT work. So A plus, you can just learn all this yourself. You don't have to get the exam. You don't have to take the exam, spend that money to get the certification, because this is really, yeah, I really don't think you need it. Now, as far as, let me see, there's a pop-up here. Network Plus, I do think Network Plus is valuable if you do not have work experience with networking. If you're able to get a position, that's dope, without the certification. But the certification just helps you land that position for being a network engineer. So from my understanding, how it goes typically is, with that help desk position, you do not want to stay there for more than 2 years. I've been in the position for about 3-4 months now, and I do not plan on spending my time there for more than 2 years. 2 years is the absolute maximum, because after that, when these recruiters see that on your resume, they think, oh damn, he's complacent, he doesn't really want to move up or do anything else if you're spending like 5 years in the basic level 1 help desk position. So maximum 2 years, absolute maximum. And then at the same time, I'm working towards doing networking projects, and also, trying to find, if I can find a position, without getting the Network Plus, then that works. But I'm also working towards Network Plus right now. I'm learning it. I would say networking is my weak suit. I know a lot of cybersecurity concepts, but network is my weak suit. So I am learning that right now, and I do plan on taking the exam. yeah, take notes. I use Notion for that, learn that. But besides the certifications, because everybody tells everybody to get these certifications. Besides that, how the roadmap goes, from my understanding, is a help desk position, let's say level 1, and then maybe you get to level 2. Okay, and then after that, you're going to want to get some networking projects under your belt. Maybe internship, Cisco, messing with Cisco switches and shit like that, or just personal projects of your own to put on your resume. And then get Network Plus, and then try and land a network engineer position or a network administrator position. Network administrator will typically require a couple years of experience, probably with like lower level networking experience. So I'm not sure about network administrator, but network engineer, that should be feasible. That's a little feeder role into cybersecurity, because from there you can be a sysadmin, just having, the IT under your belt, the help desk under your belt, the networking under your belt. But the really entry level position, and I'm going to say this again from my understanding, I'm not in corporate cybersecurity, but from what I'm researched, and I just want to share that, is that you want to eventually land a SOC analyst position. So if I butcher spellings, don't mind that. So SOC analyst, this is eventually what you want to land, and it's a security operations center. So this is pretty much how you get in your foot in the door in cybersecurity. From here, you can go into red team, blue team, or whatever. There's also the military route, which is a very easy way to get into cybersecurity. Sign away your life for 4 years, depending on the job, and then get out, and everybody wants to hire you because you got that military and experience and all that. That's a way to do it. But as far as the civilian route, you eventually want to land in a SOC analyst position, and you can do this out of the gate. But you got to be prepared for that interview, when they interview you, to back it up. And also to go back to the interview for the help desk position, because I know that's the entry level. That's how people get into it. I already talked about the written test. As far as the verbal test and the practical test, they asked me basic shit like pull up the host name, stop a service on Windows. Well, pull up the host name. Let me clarify. It was a Windows machine. They asked me to pull up the host name, stop a service, pull up the MAC address, internal IP address, all that. Very basic shit that anybody getting into this field should know. So I feel like other places may be harder as far as their requirements or what they test you on. But I mean, you can lie all over your resume. I'd say you could lie about projects. Experience, I'm not sure about that, unless you do like internships, but if they're higher level, they may end up calling them. So yeah, you're gonna have to, cover your bullshit. But I don't knock the hustle. You can do whatever you want, but you gotta make sure you can back it up at the end of the day. So if you say that you did this, that, and the third, then you should be able to know those concepts and be able to elaborate on it whenever they ask you about it. So, fake it till you make it. Do whatever you need to get this position, because once you're in it, you're in it. It doesn't matter everything that happened before. So, yeah, SOC analyst. Let's go over this. Responsible for monitoring and auditing the company's systems. They also monitor network activity, ensure that no suspicious activities are happening. So, basic shit. It's like I said, foot in the door. So, yeah. So, road to cybersecurity. So, now that I covered, this is the eventual position that I want to be in. If I can be, pen test, penetration tester junior or whatever, that would work. But as far as getting my foot in the door, I would like this position. And, I don't want to jump all the way to a high position because I don't feel like I'm ready for those positions. You should know your limitations to your knowledge and know that to not get ahead of yourself. And so I wouldn't mind this before a pen testing position. That's the eventual goal. But so to wrap that up, because if we go any deeper, that's really branching out to depending on what you want to do. But yeah, the network engineer is a feeder role that feeds into SOC analyst or whatever you want to do. But the help desk is the first thing you should be aiming towards if you have no experience at all. So yeah, help desk, 2 years maximum. Work towards that network plus networking projects. Get a network engineer role, and then do a little grinding. Spend a couple years in that, and then SOC analyst. But as far as things I've learned in this position that I didn't come in with is use of Active Directory. I didn't really know. I knew of Active Directory and basic stuff with it, but I basically use it every day. Not in an expert format or anything. I reset passwords. Basic shit like that. Reset passwords, OUs, permissions, stuff like that, making sure that's good if people are having issues. And yeah, so AD is very important. So if we take a look at this is what I see on a day-to-day. This is Active Directory. It'll show users, groups, the computers in the domain, stuff like that. So this is Tubo Geek. Another tool I use is lockout status. So let me see if it'll show. Yeah, okay, so yeah, this is, damn, this blurry as hell. What the fuck? Okay, yeah, this is it. So yeah, another tool I use is lockout status. It'll show the different domains, different servers, like you see in the different sites. So like the London site, New York site, Hong Kong site. And so the company I work for has several sites. They have an India location. They have, I believe, a New York location. It's all around. South America location. Yeah, like I said, all around. So, I'm able to see those sites in lockout status, and I'm able to see the user state. If it's locked, then I unlock it by just right-clicking unlock it. It's not complicated, but going before, because it's very different going into corporate. You can know all these things, but when it comes to corporate, they do things a little bit differently, and they use different tools. So AD and lockout status, Active Directory and lockout status were tools that I didn't necessarily use on a day-to-day that I now do. So I'm gonna actually full screen this. So this isn't the server room that we have, obviously, but it's very similar. They have the raised floors, and then they have cables going underneath. Other day, they had me scrounging all over the floor, putting cables and sleeves and shit like that under the floor because we just got a new server rack with new servers, switches and shit. And we had to not plug it up, but we had to route the wire through the floor. And so yeah, that's another thing that I didn't necessarily do beforehand, which makes sense. I don't have a server room, but that's another thing as far as knowing that fiber optic cables are very fragile. So you got to be protective of those, and you have to wrap them up in, what was the word I used before? Like a little tube to protect it while it's underneath. And there's roaches down in that bitch. So, it's like, I think a lot of people when they go into IT, they think that, it's just going to be sitting down, resetting passwords and shit, which for the most part it is, for at least like help desk position. But there's more to it. Depending on the company you're at, they might just have you in that server room, fucking cold as shit, because the server room got to be cold as shit, all over the floor, tugging on wires, and then the other person at the other end talking about, oh wait, this shit is caught on something. I'm like, oh shit, okay, all right. Oh wait, it went around a different corner, so now we gotta bring it back and bring it around the other corner. It's like, oh shit, okay. We just did all this shit, now we gotta undo it. And so another thing to note is plenum spaces, so up here. So that's something you'll learn in Network Plus as far as plenum rated wire or coding, the jacket, plenum rated jacket. So some cables have to be heat resistant if they're going to be up in the plenum spaces. And yeah, that's something that you should know, especially with these help desk positions or IT positions that you're going to be in that server room. Another thing to note is ITAM. So IT asset management. You got to make sure you're on top of that. As far as depending on who you're assisting, if you're assisting agents within the company, then issuing laptops to them, desktops to them, small form factor stuff. Anything you're issuing to them, headsets, mice, keyboards. You got to keep track of all of that. And if you lend something out to an agent and you don't note that down, then that's your ass that's on the line. So I'm still getting in that process because, like I said, I don't really know corporate like that. So this isn't in my day-to-day mindset. It is slowly becoming that, but right now it's not ingrained. So I actually sent an agent home without a power cord whenever I swapped out their system, because we're upgrading machines from Windows 10 to Windows 11 because of end of life. So yeah, I swapped out the system, and it was a different system with a different power supply, and I sent them home without the new power supply that they need. And so that was that was my bad. That was my ass. I was on the line. So you got to really get in that groove of asset management. So hardware asset management, software asset management, other related items, cloud asset management. Yeah, this is another important thing. One thing that they did ask me on my... Did I butcher that? No, okay. One thing that they did ask me on the written exam, but not the verbal one, was about SLA, which I did not know what the fuck this was. So SLA is a service level agreement. A good course, I think, that it used to be free. I think it costs money now. But ISC2CC, the certified in cybersecurity, really, so free exam and training. Okay, so I believe it's still free now for a limited, free training and exam now for a limited time. So I was actually going to do this, but oh wait, what the hell? Purchase exam, make your selection, CC exam, $200. Is $200 now? That's crazy. Now for a limited time. Okay, is it $200? Is it free limited? Okay, I don't know what ISC2 is doing, but they do actually have good certifications. They have, what is it, CCSP, CISSP. Those are good ones that I've heard, or that I see a lot as far as Indeed, LinkedIn, what they're requiring for these higher positions. But whenever I was actually studying this, whenever I had the free exam, I'm pretty sure it's expired by now because I never took the exam because I felt like it was some bullshit. I felt like it held no weight just because it was a very new exam. And so I was like, this isn't no A+, no Network Plus that's, solidified, real recognized, real type shit, So I was like, I didn't really think it was important. I think it was just another exam that would have got looked over because nobody really knows it. And so I had the free exam, but I never took it. But the actual contents of the exam it teaches you about corporate cybersecurity, corporate IT, and stuff like that. So I think if I would have studied it more, it probably could have helped me. I think being knowledgeable about it would have helped me, but I still think that I would have fell into the same rhythm that I am now, where I'm not so much corporate. I'm more, personal studies and shit like that. And so, but if you want to, so it says free exam and training. Okay. Matter of fact, let's click it. Let's see what happens. I think you have to make an account and then you get it. 1 million. They still haven't hit the 1 million, I guess. But yeah, I think you can go now, ISC2 CC cybersecurity certification, and you can study it, because I feel like that is the main difference between personal studies. It's that corporate difference that really that they really need. I was lucky enough to not have corporate experience, and they still take me in, you know. But at the same time, it was entry level, and all these entry level positions now are requiring 2-3 years of experience. It's like, nigga, that is not entry level. What are you talking about? But anyways, I'm getting off track. Yeah, so SLA, service level agreement, a contract between a service provider and a customer. And yeah, I mean, besides that, those are some things that I learned that I didn't know coming in. Or some stuff that I didn't do or didn't know coming in. But other stuff like, you know, basic troubleshooting, agents, headset issue, keyboard issue, computer issue. Oh, computer glitched. Oh, that's because we have shitty ass systems, you know. We haven't updated them because, you know, we're not fucking Fortune 500 Apple, you know. And so there's that things. And, you know, but, you know, you really, once you get in that position, you know, you get to learn the groove of it. Well, I hope, you know, if whoever's watching this and they're trying to get into it, once they get that position, you know, they're able to get the groove of it and they're just not thrown to the wolves like that. Luckily, I had coworkers that, you know, explained it well. And now I feel pretty stable in the position. Like, I know what I know. And I feel like depending on where you go, you really have to want to know. Because there are those coworkers and people that will literally just sit there and do the basic IT, you know, answering calls, providing help, but not necessarily achieving for anything else, like trying to learn. And that's especially the old heads, people, you know, coming out the military who, you know, have that experience, so they just get that position, and, you know, a very basic position, you know, they're just sitting back answering calls, doing support tickets, and, you know, that's all cool for them. But for people that strive for more, you're going to want to learn more. And honestly, if I didn't strive to learn more about the company and how it works, as far as like all the tools we used, I think that I would be really bad off right now, because it wasn't necessarily pushed upon me. I really seeked it out. So it might be, like I said, there's different companies, so it might be pushed upon you. You might have to seek it out and just better yourself. You have to have that discipline, you know. But I'd say, yeah. So 3-4 months in, that's pretty much what I've learned. I don't know when part 2 is gonna be. Maybe when I learn more, or you know, something happens where, you know, oh, all of a sudden I'm able to get this SOC analyst position or this network engineer position. I honestly don't know. I would cover Network Plus and post videos about it, but I feel like that kind of strays from the topics of my channel. I don't know if you guys would like that. But I would do Network Plus videos because I feel like I learn better whenever I'm actually teaching. So, but yeah, you guys let me know down in the comments. Hopefully this video helps somebody, and I'm out. See you guys, I don't know, 3 months. I don't know when I'll post another video, but see you guys.